if there's one good thing about the insanity of Trump's second term, is that it had spawned some of the best town hall moments this country has ever seen. Town halls is the moment when elected officials leave Washington and goes to meet their constituents. Even before Trump's second term, there were some juicy moments from town halls, but nothing compared to how entertaining it is now. And it goes for both parties. To be clear, the Democrats absolutely deserve to get their booty cheek clapped for how weak and pathetic their opposition to Trump has been so far. But the real gems, the real chef kisses are the Republicans' town halls. Who would have thought that most Americans would be pretty pissed about a billionaire firing thousands of federal employees and try to completely destroy social benefit in the public sector? And Donald Trump imposing some batshit insane tariff that will raise consumer goods for every American, and lots of them will lose their jobs.
When will you stand up to them and say that is enough?
The end result of the fraud and abuse that has been discovered already.
Absolutely no proof.
We'll have time for a lot of questions. I know we're going to get, unless we have very different people than we did in Fox Cities, Fox Crossing. Unless we have very different people, we're going to get questions on Elon Musk. So, obviously, President Trump has issued a lot of executive orders. I think by and large, this is moving very quickly compared to other administrations, and I think across the board, he's done some very good things. I think he's gotten rid of birthright citizenship.
Illegal as hell.
He's gone back to the stay in Mexico policy, which I think is one of the major reasons why we no longer have thousands and thousands of people crossing the southern border every day. He's getting rid of the DEI. Which is an ideology whereby when you look at people,
U.S. Department of Agriculture helping Wyoming family farmers deal with drought until I was fired a month ago in the mass firings, and despite only having the highest marks in my performance review. In a state where so many farmers rely on government programs for drought and disaster relief, Trump's plans to cut these programs and the people who administer them, coupled with the tariffs, will decimate Wyoming farms and rural communities. What are you doing about that?
I disagree. The work that I have specifically been doing, I am on the Judiciary Committee and the Natural Resources Committee. It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing. You're going to have a heart attack if you don't calm down. I'm sorry. You're hysterical.
I want to say from a conservative perspective, the approach of DOGE is completely 180 degrees. They've been indiscriminate and they've taken a chainsaw to these things. We've seen that with workers from the nuclear workers, the NNSA, our nuclear stockpile, and CDC workers working on the bird flu being fired by DOGE and then having to be rehired when someone realizes, oh gosh, we need those people.
So I've been down to CDC several times. Actually, Dr. Howery, one of my former attendings, works there, and I'm in close contact with the CDC. They have about, 13,000 employees? 13,000 employees at the CDC. In the last couple of years, those probationary people, which is about 10% of their employee base, which is about 1,300 people, which you're referring to, a lot of the work they do is duplicitous with AI. Once again, one of the problems we have, I happen to be a doctor. I know a few things, okay? Just give me a break. If we continue to grow the size of government and we can't afford it, it's going to have shortfalls in your Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and other things that we can't afford, guys. We have to make some decisions.
Trying to do more with less.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. What's not reasonable is taking this chainsaw approach, which they obviously admit when they fired these people and then decided, oh, we fired the wrong people. We got to bring them back in. Why is this being jammed down the pipe so rushed and sloppily?
So
Use a scalpel.
my understanding is when you say you have this many employees that you have to cut, that organization decides who they're going to cut. Now, they may
Tyranny.
Yeah,
Tyranny.
Virginia, do you have a question for the Congressman?
I do. I do. Thank you. Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
When you talk about tyranny, when you talk about presidential power, I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you, and not listening.
Hey, let's restore some order. Let's restore some order. Hey, let's restore some order.
So
Stop
yelling at me is not going to get any answer, okay?
Hey.
Like I said, we're not going to yell.
Point of order. Hey, let's get through this. Congressman, hey.
Yeah. I've seen Game of Thrones too, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on because if you're not going to listen, to the answer, we might as well not discuss it, right? Do you want to hear the answer? If you'd stop yelling, I will answer. Otherwise, we'll move on.
We've got a lot to be proud of in this country. I happen to agree with a lot of the things that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. I know many of you are not. The American people sent President Trump back to the White House and Republican majorities in the House and Senate with a clear mandate to restore America's economic dominance, get government out of their way to the greatest extent possible, and to secure our border. In my view, our nation's debt crisis has been largely ignored far too long. And the time is now to fix how Washington works. To that end, I was proud to vote recently for the House budget resolution, which provides the framework And you wonder why folks don't want to do these town halls.
What do you plan to do to make sure North Carolina does not get taken over by dictatorship and fascism?
Sounds like there's a little bit of bias in that question, but yeah.
How do you justify cuts to staff of the VA helping veterans, especially those with long-term care needs?
So first of all, there have been no cuts to the staff at VA as of this point. The information that you have received.
Why is Elon Musk a better person to audit our government for waste, fraud, and abuse than the inspectors general that Donald Trump fired? Because Elon Musk has conflicts of interest out the wazoo. He gets $40 billion a year in federal contracts from the federal government.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you slow down a little bit?
Elon Musk gets $40 billion a year in funding from the federal government. What makes you think that has no conflict of interest? That he has no conflict of interest? Do you think he would cut that before he would cut our Medicare or our Social Security or our jobs?
I support Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. Next question.
But what you're doing right now, what the government is doing right now, as far as cutting out those jobs, a huge percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans. And that is a damn shame. That is a damn shame.
You're here.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great, we don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you.
What the? He's just like, alright, peace out, motherfucker. Another thing about these town halls is how much American does not seem to care about Donald Trump's imperialist ambition. I especially like the solidarity most Americans have with my home country of Canada.
Mike, would you oppose going to war with Canada?
Yes.
Do you support the annexation of Canada and/or Greenland? And this is a yes or no question. I don't want you to wander off into the woods. I don't want to hear about your latest week in your office. Okay, so I'm trying to get your opinion on this as a yes or no. Do you support Trump on annexing Canada or Greenland? And do you like the way he treats the Premier or the President of Canada, calling him governor? Is that the way you do as a diplomat? Is that the way the United States should act to our closest neighbors? You know?
I've been in Spokane for 39 years from New Jersey. I've never been involved in politics before, but this is getting really scary. Okay, so the things that frighten me is the way this insane president talks about Canada as a 51st state. Taking Panama by force and buying Greenland. How does this person qualify as sane? Why is he not being impeached right now?
So in short, I don't support us absorbing Canada. Canada, that would be like taking. Canada's been a good neighbor. Canada is much more liberal and left wing than the United States. If we took Canada, taking Canada would be like taking another California. It would tilt things towards the Democrats. Yeah. If we took Canada, the Republicans would never have control again, so we don't want that to happen.
Ah, yeah, great answer. It's not that threatening an ally, friend, and trading partner is a pretty bad idea. No, we don't want Canada, because they probably have more crazy pink hair feminists